Hello, and welcome to the Pause Button Podcast. Before we get to this week's episode, we felt it was important to address the bigoted and hurtful comments made by J.K. Rowling. We started our review of the Harry Potter films before her recent tweets and in no way support or share her despicable views of transgender people. Trans women are women, and trans men are men. We also believe that while Rowling created the world of Harry Potter, her art is not dominated by her views, and the joy, nostalgia, and messages of the wizarding world belong to everyone who has enjoyed this franchise over the years. A donation has been made to the Transgender Legal Defense and Education Fund on behalf of the Pause Button Podcast, and if you want more information, their link is in the description below. We hope you enjoy the episode. Hey everyone, this is your host Brian, and welcome to episode 24. Today's topic, high-speed kart races. Does it have to do with our previous episode on the Fast and Furious movies? Nope, but 26 years ago today, June 17th, OJ went on his infamous crazy police chase at a zooming 35 miles per hour in his Ford Bronco. What a time to be alive. Find out about all that and more on this week's episode of the Pause Button Podcast. That's history right there.
I thought that was going to lead into the car chase that happened in Chicago.
No, that's too recent, man. But did you guys know that he was only going 35 miles an hour?
The one in Chicago or OJ?
OJ.
So they were just cruising.
I go faster down like 111th.
Yeah, that's super topical for our listeners. 111th Street in Chicago.
As you guys all know, across America, I think we have a couple listeners in Canada. You guys know 111th. It's a big street.
I'll say that does seem like OJ's style, though. Like, he kind of, is just cool with how things go, I feel like.
He's just like, they're not actually chasing me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you not get caught only going 35? Wouldn't the cop just, would
Yeah,
he just be able to, T-bone him immediately, or pit maneuver him right away,
I think they kind of let him do it, because he was famous. They were just like, let him run it out. He's not gonna get away.
No.
Well, I think it was more like they were trying to just not escalate things. That'd be my guess.
Yeah. He's got to run out of gas.
He's a really good football player. Let's just let him go for a while.
Yeah.
Look at him go. He'll tire himself out soon.
You have any idea how many yards he's run? That's the extent of my football knowledge right there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't even know what team he was on, to be honest.
I have no knowledge of his football career. I think he was pretty good.
He drove a Ford Bronco, so do you think he was on the Broncos? Is that how that worked?
No. I don't think so.
I've never even heard of a Ford Bronco.
They retired that car.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But OJ had a nickname. It was OJ. What are some of your guys' nicknames?
Wow.
Transitions. I'm great at them.
Weird. Okay.
Pat?
You got anything else to add to that?
That was leading into our introductions.
Oh my god, this is a
What?
dumpster fire.
You meant for that to lead into the intros?
Yeah,
Well, he did say, what are you guys' nicknames, but I think people, I don't know if
probably
everybody
talked
heard
over
it.
him.
Yeah.
I didn't hear
I
it.
probably talked right over
I
him.
was like, what?
Unbelievable.
I'm the Sunshine Wizard.
Oh.
Nice. Mysterious.
Nice.
Magical.
Nice.
And topical, for a reason.
I guess I'll go. I'm the retro guy, Devontae.
And I'm the rigatoni robot, Joe.
I love
There
it,
we
man.
go.
Don't never stop.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna retire it. I'm your humble host on Lake Michigan's coast, the skilled talker on his way to a gilded Oscar, an excellent
you really didn't have
podcaster,
that.
and all-around master, your friendly
No.
neighborhood host, Brian.
No, we're trying to. We already have difficulty squeezing it on our time slot.
You just said Brian? You didn't say Mr. Pause Button this time?
Yeah, I changed it to friendly neighborhood host. I like that better.
No, you didn't. You changed it into that whole thing.
Well, I mean, yeah, that too. I deserve it.
You're a monster. You're a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Unique.
all right, before we get into the big topic for the day, we have Bracket for Debate Week 2. If you didn't catch our last episode, there's 16 seeds. We're going to do 4 seeds an episode, 2 matchups, 2 minutes each for each matchup, and 7 episodes later, we're going to have a winner. We're doing movie soundtracks, and last week's winners were Blues Brothers and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Do you guys want to get into the first matchup for today?
Hit me up.
All right,
Yeah.
Let me get my phone ready for this timer of 2 minutes. 2 minutes? Okay. And we are going to be talking about Baby Driver versus Space Jam. Go.
Huh. That's actually a close one for me. I really liked Baby Driver's soundtrack, but I feel like it hasn't really stuck with me like Space Jam's has. And granted, maybe that's because I grew up with Space Jam, but it's resulting in me just leaning towards Space Jam out of pure nostalgia.
Space Jam has had a longer time to breathe. But I'll be honest, I loved Baby Driver. That movie's phenomenal. I can't name a single song that was in that movie right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember it was great. I remember it was good.
Yeah. Maybe you should have done that research, bud.
I haven't seen Baby Driver, so honestly, I don't know what's on the soundtrack. But I just did a quick Google for Space Jam. So, I mean, I've seen Space Jam. I'm probably going to go with that. Although the one problematic thing that I can think about with Space Jam's soundtrack is just that it has R. Kelly on it. But
yeah.
Well, you know.
We can ignore that. Come on and slam, man. Come on and slam. Like, that's... there's no...
I Believe I Can Fly.
That's the R. Kelly one.
Yeah, I know. But still, I know. I knew it when I said it. Yeah. I knew it when I said it.
Or even, like, Get Ready for This. Like, that's just, like, now just a staple in, like, just playing sports and playing music when a team runs out. And
yeah.
I want Baby Driver to win, but I don't think it's gonna.
And Space Jam has Biz Markie and the Spin Doctors, so...
Biz Markie?
There we go.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it, man. I know it's not even just a friend that's on there, but it doesn't matter. Biz Markie gets it.
What's your vote, Devontae?
I go with Space Jam.
All right.
Yeah.
We got 12 seconds left, but it don't matter.
I was looking at the Baby Driver soundtrack. I was like, I don't even know half of these songs.
They're good.
It was good. It had a great soundtrack.
It fits
just,
the music
I don't think it stuck with
the
me.
movie.
I got the Harlem Shuffle. That's cool.
There we go.
Not the Harlem Shake?
No.
Oh, Jesus.
No, we're gonna...
All right,
No,
so
no.
Space Jam, I think, unanimously wins that round. It will go on and slam to the next round there. Yeah. But there's one more matchup. This one you guys don't know yet. This one, it's going to be pretty easy. But it's Almost Famous versus Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Go.
Please.
Not even close.
Please.
I was at random, man.
Not even close.
Or Almost Famous. Because that's a really good soundtrack. But
I mean, yeah, it's good,
Spider-Man
but it's just not as good.
The thing is, not only is the soundtrack amazing for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, all those songs worked perfectly in the context of the movie.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, it elevated the film with its soundtrack choice.
I mean, most of them were original for that, right? Whereas Almost Famous
Good
wasn't.
Quirr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, Elton John didn't write Tiny Dancer for that movie?
What?
Wow.
No, yeah, but some of the lines, the lyrics in Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse are about, being Spider-Man and all that, and that soundtrack changed my opinion of pop music. I was like, you know what, current pop music, I gotta get into that, because this is some good shit.
Yeah.
And Sunflower. I mean, there you go.
Definitely a standout track. Tom sings that all the time. If he was here, I'm sure he would be singing it right now.
Yeah, so
Indeed.
I think that's it. We can dump the band Sweetwater and dude, it was at random, and Almost Famous just lost the luck of the draw. That's just how it works, man. And now
I would have had a little more difficulty if it had gone up against Baby Driver.
Yeah, that would have been close.
I think that probably would have been the winner between the two.
But that's just how the cookie crumbles, I guess. We got Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Space Jam moving on to the next round, joining Blues Brothers and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
R.I.P. Space Jam.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Doesn't stand a fucking chance.
We'll
I
see.
mean, past first round, that's about it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I guess that's all I could have expected, though.
Yeah.
To be honest, like
They went into it like, we just won one.
yeah.
We've got 2 more episodes of first round matchups, and there are some really good ones in there, so we'll have to get to that later on. But it is time to move on to our main topic. So welcome to the Pause Button Podcast. Every other week, your 4 favorite hosts, Pat, Joey, Devontae, and me, without Tom, because he's off gallivanting in Colorado right now.
Yeah.
I thought he died.
Well, we'll take a topic.
He smoked so much kush.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
He died.
We're gonna
Tom's gravestone will read "Killed by Kush." That's
Tom the Cush.
Deaded.
Dead by the dank.
We're going to take a topic, delve into its past, discuss its present, and debate its dazzling future, and we'll do our darndest to entertain you along the way. You can expect surprising facts, funny jokes, deeply depressing monologues like how Tom's dead, and of course, unrelated witty banter, like how he smoked a lot of kush. So whether you're watching a movie or playing a video game, sit down, shut up, and open your ears. It's time to hit pause. What did I do?
You beat it into the ground.
You said witty banter, and I was like, that's gone.
the witty part. Okay, yeah, I get you. But is your line not bringing back the witty banter by being witty itself?
I don't know if it was witty so much as just observing the truth of the state of our podcast.
Yeah, whatever. So today, we're introducing a new thing that we're going to be doing for the next couple of movie episodes. We're going to be delving in to Harry Potter.
Few movie episodes.
The Wizarding World. We're going to be doing 3 whole episodes on this.
If we want to be less ambiguous, yeah.
Yeah, pretty pumped for that. I was a pretty big Harry Potter stan growing up as a child.
Just to set the expectations, we're going to be talking a lot about the past because these movies are like 20 years old. And then you'll get more like the present and future discussions as we get to the end of all this. But
And we're specifically focusing on the movies, right?
Yeah, we're not going to be talking about the books and all that. Take your books and go home, nerd.
Yeah, maybe just a couple of references to differences, but that'll be about it.
Yeah.
And I can't read, so the movies work out pretty well. So the Sorcerer's Stone, or if you're from Britain, then we got the Philosopher's Stone. If you want to be fancy about it.
Hey, that's its title on the Wikipedia page. Yeah, they went with the actual title.
I don't think we needed to change it.
Nah, not really, but I think Sorcerer's Stone might be the American version of the actual myth of the Philosopher's Stone. So they just used that because that's the more popularized and well-known in America.
I'm willing to bet...
But I might also be talking out my ass. I'm willing to bet
half the people who saw this movie in theaters had no idea what the Philosopher or Sorcerer's Stone was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, alchemists.
I think the only reason that I knew Philosopher's Stone was it was in Full Metal Alchemist, right? They reference that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So what's your first impressions of this movie? What do you think about it?
Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone?
No, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Let's just dump this episode.
Well, yeah. What trash we're getting from Brian today. It definitely feels like a 2001 movie.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yes.
The first 2 movies are a lot more corny, but I do appreciate that they capture a little bit of that whimsy and wonder of the first 2 books, which I have recently reread within the last year. So those first 2 books are a lot less dark. There's dark moments, which the movies also have. But the first one specifically, it's definitely a all ages movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And can I just say that I did not remember at all how long these movies are.
I had no idea.
When I agreed to this.
2 hours and 30 minutes plus. Wow.
Yeah. Because I was so surprised because we turned it on and I was like, okay, this will probably be like an hour and a half. I didn't even look at the timestamp. And, a little ways into it, I was like, whoa. I'm surprised that kids would be able to pay attention that long.
It didn't feel that long. When I was 12, 13 watching these movies, yeah, let's go.
Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, really good movies, and I did like it a lot.
Mm-hmm. You're going to be really confused when we get to the 5th movie, adapting the longest book.
Let's not talk about the dark times yet, man. We're still in the happy days, the glory days. Let's stay there for a little bit. Devontae, how about you? What do you think of this movie? What's your general...
I was like,
what do you want?
It's just fuck this book. This movie.
I thought it was okay. Like Pat said, it's pretty corny. But then again, I didn't really care for the books. And when I watched the movie, I was like, this is just okay.
That's fair.
I definitely think you could see the potential for growth there. But it definitely, I think, suffers from some, weird acting from some of the child stars here: Emma Watson, Rupert Grint, and young Daniel Radcliffe. Not everything lands with them, which is to be expected to some extent. It can be hard to cast, and they had to deal with trying to cast actors that look like their book counterparts, in the way they're described, while also, getting them some that can act decently. And I definitely think they focused a little more on getting ones that looked like the part.
Oh yeah.
That's for sure.
And they definitely grow into it for sure. Like even just between the first and second movie, I felt like I could tell a difference with the acting in the kids. But like even I really felt like Daniel Radcliffe didn't have a lot of lines in the first movie, and it might have partially been because
everything just kind of happens to him. He's just there as the world moves around him, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's how it is when you're 11. You don't know what the fuck's going on. You're just like, okay, yeah, sure, all right. Like, all right. So let's get into this. The first section here we're gonna talk about is like the story, things we noticed while watching the movie, and Pat's gonna kind of be our point person for the books. He's read them a lot of times, so he's gonna talk about like how it adapts the book and if it did a good.
I've read them around 20 times.
Not this book, all 7 books. So he's good to go. So the first thing I want to talk about that I noticed watching this the first time is, do you remember the scene when they're getting letters and Harry walks down and Uncle Dursley's kneeling by the fireplace and he just looks at Harry like Jack Nicholson from Anger Management and gives that creepy smile. He's like, yeah, and he throws it in.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, let's go.
Oh man, I will say I actually really liked Uncle Vernon's actor. He does a great job in this first one. It's kind of a shame because he doesn't really get much to do outside of this one and like Prisoner of Azkaban.
He gets angry.
But exactly. He gets to be angry and he pulls off the like fat angry uncle, like actually I'll take away the word semi. Abusive as hell, but somehow weirdly likable in that abuse.
No, I would say likable, enjoyable on screen. He's fun to watch, but if he was in real life, I would hate him as much as Hitler. Like
100%.
That being said, you are easily angry at this family. They did a good job of just making these the 3 most unbearable human beings you can imagine living with.
Yeah, definitely.
Although, book-wise, Dudley not nearly fat enough.
Yeah, right?
In the book, they're like, he is... J.K. Rowling goes out of her way to be like, he is a turd of a person. He's so fat.
Yeah, she literally calls him a beach ball.
Yeah.
I didn't know it. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Also, can we say with that letter scene, when all the letters are like coming in through the chimney, like... Harry should have had an easier time grabbing those.
Yes, it's really weird. He just like what a horrible 11-year-old. But when I was 11, I was able to sneak things around my parents without them noticing. How can in this fountain of letters he has to jump around to get one?
Yeah. They're literally on the ground like, bro, pick it up and run.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to bring realism into this, but does Hogwarts send envelopes with rounded edges, or are they just risking the chance they're going to poke someone's eye out there?
What?
Probably risking.
Like, that's...
The Wizarding world is pretty dangerous. Like, they pretty regularly accidentally curse themselves, or like... that stuff gets thrown out in lines all the time, and I'm like, so, they probably did not care.
Yeah.
Also, you have to understand it was Hagrid trying to deliver the letters, so... He's not exactly smart.
True.
Yeah, or subtle.
So
speaking of
subtle.
how dangerous that the world is, I got a small segment I want to do for each movie called "What Insane Thing Does Dumbledore Do in This Movie?" Because that man's fucking nuts. So
yes, I think definitely making the door to Fluffy be so easily accessible that you just have to like quickly say one spell to unlock it, and any kid can just walk in.
Yeah,
they get to Hogwarts. Welcome to school. Y'all gonna die if you go to this take a wrong turn on the 3rd floor. Let's eat. And then he just stares at Harry like, you should go there.
Hermione did have to unlock the door,
yeah, she used Alohomora, but if a first year can know that spell...
So, a first year... And granted, like all they say is you absolutely cannot go in there on threat of death. But like any teenager is gonna be like, well, I gotta know though, right?
Also,
Like,
another thing he does. Look, I get it. The Dursleys are his last remaining relatives, but you don't follow the law anyway, Dumbledore. You do whatever the hell you want. And it's like, oh, you shouldn't live in the wizarding world. You should grow up away from it all. Okay, there are literally millions of other muggles you could drop him off at, but you're going to put him...
There was a reason for that, though, and they explain that later. Maybe not in the movies, but they definitely do in the books. He had a very specific reason why he needed the Dursleys to look after him.
All right. That's fair. I accept that.
Yep.
That's fine by me.
He was like, you're going to live in a cupboard and you're going to like it, Harry.
So, oh yeah.
Sorry. All I also wanted to say is, since we were talking about like early scenes in the movie, I do love Hagrid's introduction. He's just instantly so overbearing and comes across as like something other in this world, like totally non-regular, and is a good way to immediately transition into the Wizarding world, especially because he uses his umbrella to give Dudley a tail, a pigtail.
Or when they're in the King's Cross station, like him and Harry are just walking, and the lady's looking at him. He's like, "What are you looking at?" Like it's just like that little touch of just like, yeah, he looks weird everywhere. He's just huge.
Yeah. When
I was little, I used to imagine before the first movie came out, which it couldn't have been long after I started reading the books. I imagined Hagrid always as the hiker sprite from Pokemon Yellow.
Yeah, dude. Exactly who it is.
Big fat guy, massive round head.
Always yelling at you. Like...
Yeah, exactly.
I want to talk about Marcus Flint. Do you guys know who that is?
Is that the actor that plays Hagrid?
That's the guy in Slytherin who is on the Quidditch team. He's like the main like bully over there.
Oh, the guy with the awful teeth.
So
really
just not only his teeth are real bad, but he has calves of fucking steel. Do you see the kick he gives to somebody during that Quidditch match? He sends them flying, like soaring away.
Also, can we talk about how there's absolutely no fouls in Quidditch? Like, why is that? Like, what's
You're allowed
the deal?
to beat the crap out of people. Yeah. I think there are technically fouls in the books because the matches are a little more streamlined in the movies. But like, even then, half the time it's that people are so distracted that they never seem to notice the fouls. I remember in one of the books, one of the beaters for Slytherin is literally trying to hit someone with a club and no one's calling a foul.
I was just gonna say something about that, like Happy Gilmore stabbing someone with his like thing on his skate.
Yeah.
And Slytherin plays dirty too because they're a bunch of dirty Slytherins.
But just the school in general, we're introduced to it, and maybe it's because I'm an adult now looking back on it, but like Neville gets hurt on his broomstick, and the teacher's like, I'm going to take this one kid to the infirmary. The rest of you 20 students stay here unattended. McGonagall pulls Harry and both Oliver Wood out of class just to discuss, talk about Quidditch. Like, this school deserves everything that happens to it. It's so disorganized.
Also, just with like the Quidditch matches, people are constantly interfering with magic. Like, why can't they put like a spell over the field to like prevent that? They've done much more in later books.
my boy Quirrell was trying to save Harry.
Maybe they just thought nobody would try to cast a spell in this school game. But then there are the dads at like little league games that like throw shit at the umpires in real life. So you know what?
Yeah, true.
All right. Anything else you guys want to say about the story of this one?
Unicorn blood. That is all.
Unicorn blood. I love how they pronounce it like that specifically.
Unicorn blood.
So, directing wise, personality wise, the tone of this movie, the costumes, the music. John Williams, of course, is a goddamn genius. He's just perfect.
Yeah, John Williams does a great job in all these movies. He usually does. So, but he definitely gave them a very their own unique sound.
I never thought about it, but I think the set and costume design are also just as good. This looks perfect, like a wizarding world set in London that lives in like the 18th or 19th century still for some reason. Everything looks great.
One of my favorite parts for sure, I mean, just like set-wise, is the train. I always wanted to be on a train like them. With like the candy cart.
Oh, yeah.
CGI-wise, I think some stuff looked okay still. Like the bricks moving to go into Diagon Alley or the ghosts, they looked all right. But Neville on the broomstick looked real bad. Like Scorpion King bad. It was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
It was solid for 2001.
Yeah.
Anything else directing and style-wise? I think Christopher Columbus is a little bit, he gets the job done, but he does have a little too much corniness to it.
Yeah, I mean, the first book, though, is pretty corny.
That's true.
So, it's a chill, the first one, the Harry Potter is as a book series and as a movie series does a good job of aging with its audience. So the first one was very much meant for children. And to introduce them to a new world and make it feel like a more magical place. So I think he does capture that well. It does ultimately make the movie pretty corny, but I don't think that's necessarily his fault so much as that's how he had to adapt.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
It was a source material.
So overall, what do we think of this movie?
I liked it.
I felt it served its purpose, and it's that I definitely would not call it a bad movie. I'd say it's an okay movie. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
I'm gonna rate each one in their own unique ranking system. So this one I'm gonna give 38 out of 50 Remembralls. So that's my stance here.
Cool.
I'm glad you enjoy it, Pat. You too, Joey. Usually it's just Pat.
I'm sorry.
Chamber of Secrets.
You deserve it for this episode.
Chamber of Secrets is the second one. What do we think of Chamber of Secrets?
Chamber of Secrets, I think I like a little bit more than the first one, which surprises me every time because after time goes on, I start to think that I like the first one better. But I like the concept of the cursed book manipulating her. I like the horror of the what is the creature that's attacking these people. We don't know what it is, and then the eventual reveal I think is really cool. Of it's a snake going through the pipes and coming out and paralyzing people. They're petrifying, I should say.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really enjoy that. Still some wonky acting from our child actors, but they're getting better.
Definitely noticed that.
Definitely.
And they're just about to hit hardcore puberty for the next one.
Yeah.
And you can tell it's coming with them. They're already looking a little older, and even though it's been 1 year only.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. It was the second movie came out in 2002. The first one came out in 2001.
And then it's only till 2004, and they aged that much in 2 years for the third one.
There were scenes I noticed where it was just this was filmed near the end of the filming of this movie. Their voices were a little bit lower. They looked older. It was crazy.
That being said, this movie is definitely going to be the best Harry Potter movie just for the face Ron makes when he's driving the car in the
air. Yeah.
He perfected that face and used it for all 7 movies, and it's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Joey, what did you think?
I liked it. I thought it was a really fun movie. I thought that this movie definitely showed a little bit more humor in certain ways too. I love it when the Weasley's dad comes in to the kitchen after they get Harry, and he's like, "How was taking the car?" And I don't know. I just thought that was funny. Yeah,
he's great.
The function of a rubber duck and all that.
Yeah, there's a really there's a lot of nice moments in it, so I enjoyed this one definitely more than the first.
Okay, Devontae?
Yeah, I agree with Joey. I like it better than the first one. And then doesn't this one have Dobby in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Orange on
Dobby comes in this movie, so I was like, he's a pretty cool character. So I definitely like this one better than the first one.
My parents hate him for some reason. I'm like, but his socks.
Yeah.
He's got his little socks. His pillowcase. Come on. He's so
I'm a little bit
loyal.
different from you guys. This movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes long, and I feel like it drags on just a little bit. I think the story is better, and it's better in a lot of ways than the first one. But if you said we're going to watch one of the first 2 Harry Potter movies, I say let's watch Sorcerer's Stone instead.
But did you know that if you rearrange Tom Marvolo Riddle, it says, I am Lord Voldemort?
Funny coincidence.
That part for sure. I was like, this is taking too much time. Like,
it's such a stupid, like, the twist is cool, but like the stupid, like, rearrange my name. And J.K. Rowling being like, I gotta make it a V in there somewhere. Marvolo.
That works.
Yeah.
That's his middle name.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. That was my favorite scene in this movie when he confronts him down there.
Oh,
I mean, it's a solid scene. The confrontation is solid, and I like that our first look at a more human Voldemort after seeing him as just a weird looking face on the back of Quirrell's head. And it works. He embodies Slytherin. Honestly, like you look at that guy and you're like, that's a Slytherin
I looked at that
right
guy
there.
and thought he looked like a dollar store young Benedict Cumberbatch man.
Maybe? I don't think he has the nose for it.
Yeah.
So I really want to talk about this. When Harry goes to Nocturne Alley, why is everyone's dressed like they're in a Dickens novel? Like they got like dirty faces. Like don't they bathe?
No, they're in Nocturne Alley, man. Nocturne Alley is like, it's dark magic and weird. Yeah, everyone knows dark magic works better if you smell bad.
Even when he goes to Diagon Alley and he meets the Weasleys there, they're dirty too. Like, just the Floo powder did that? Like, no.
It's,
Clean yourself up. Travel by Floo powder, clean yourself up. Bring a rag. Come on.
I love that part when all the people are around Harry and they're like, "Come with us," doing? And he's like, "No!" Like that was actually really bad acting from him. He was like, "Oh no!"
They were definitely gonna sell his kidneys.
Yeah, even in the Wizarding World, they got the black market for organs. Oh yeah.
Meanwhile, Hagrid's like, "I gotta get me some flesh-eating slug repellent."
Yeah.
Why do you have flesh-eating slugs, Hagrid? Please.
No, it's a repellent. It's fine, man. Speaking of other things that are weird about the school, again, they go to the dueling scene, and they're watching the two kids beat the shit out of each other, and they're just gonna watch it. And then Harry starts leading the snake to attack another kid, and they just start rubbing their hands together like, let's see how this plays out. Just keep going. It's great.
Yeah, well, for the dueling scene, Snape says, like, specifically, I think it would be better if you teach them how to defend something, like, first,
no,
you know?
They're just throwing magical punches.
They don't teach them how to defend it at all right after he says that. Like, I'm like, bro.
I just want to, I'm going to toss it in here, even though no one asked for it, a sunshine shout-out to Gilderoy Lockhart.
Kenneth Branagh gets
just the cockiest piece of crap I have ever seen. Yeah. And he definitely pulls it off. It feels really like cartoonish and over the top, but I enjoyed it.
Like it's perfect. It's perfect. Yeah. He was a great cast there. I feel like talking about how bad Hogwarts is could lead into the what insane thing does Dumbledore do in this movie, and I have a lot. So
sure, go ahead.
He knows everything, right? Like he's just the most powerful. So he knew Gilderoy Lockhart, speaking of him, was a phony. Why'd you hire him, man? He's like, oh, this should play out fun.
Because he knew Harry would figure it out, and Ron and Hermione would, like, it just totally save the day by giving him brain damage for the rest of his life.
All right. Then,
to be honest, like, without Hermione, they would have all been lost. Like, she's easily. A real, like...
Oh,
she did
100%.
Like,
that's
so much
that's a theme of the series.
Yeah.
That is a theme of the
then,
series.
At the end of the movie, he's in Dumbledore's office, and he's like, you broke a bunch of school rules. So here's an award. I purposely armed a 12-year-old with a sword against a giant snake. Also, there's part of an evil soul in you, but I'm not really going to tell you that now. Exams are canceled. Our ex-con groundskeeper is back. Let's fucking eat. Like, he's crazy. And then no, this one's the worst one. He told Ron to deliver the letter for Hagrid's release, and Hagrid comes back and he's like, the owl that delivered it got lost. Sorry, I'm late. He stayed in Azkaban longer because of Dumbledore. He's like, use that shitty owl to deliver the letter. We could go a couple days without Hagrid.
To be fair, I think that was a movie thing. Okay. If I remember.
Still, though.
But, I tend to headcanon it with a lot of his decisions as to Harry, as he has always believed Voldemort would return one day, and he wants Harry to be as prepared as possible for when that happens. So he allows him to go in dangerous situations, because if Harry can't get his way out of it somehow, that he's going to be absolutely fucked when Voldemort does show up again.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, dealing with the impending doom on one of your students as the head of a school is probably not an easy route.
And granted, I'm not saying that's the right way to do things. I'm just saying that's why Dumbledore does things.
Yeah.
Also, they shipped Hagrid off to Wizard Guantanamo without any evidence, and I think that's just a little bit weird. It's a weird world, man.
Yeah, well, to be fair, as the series goes on, you're going to see that the Ministry of Magic is bullshit.
Yeah.
They totally... It's a dictatorship.
And the last thing I want to bring up, you know the Polyjuice scene where he turns into Goyle? You ever seen the scene in Family Guy where he pulls parts of his face off and he's Hank Hill underneath?
No.
No.
It was in their Poltergeist fake episode. He just starts pulling pieces of his face and then he looks at himself as like half propane. That's all I could think about watching it. It was the same kind of feel to it.
All right.
Yeah.
I did like sorry, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say that I really liked Baby Fox.
Yeah.
Baby Fox was cute. I liked the horror of how the Polyjuice potion can get screwed up and turn you into a cat person, and then it lasts way longer, too.
Yeah.
She was stuck in that bathroom, man. Horrifying. Almost as horrifying as that slug spell. That's the worst thing to ever happen to anybody, and you can't convince me otherwise.
Just bombing up slugs.
Yeah, did you have a hard time watching that? I feel like that would be...
Like, the noise was weird, but for some reason I pulled through, because it was just so outlandish, I guess. I don't know. So what do you guys think of the directing and the style and the tone in this movie?
Still very similar to the first one, but they added a little more darkness to it, as happens with the books.
Dobby ironed his own hands. They said that. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah. Very fitting, I think, still, but also I was definitely ready for the tone that they and the change up they do for the third one.
I gotta give a shout out to David Bradley as Filch. He's so good as a cast.
Yeah, I mean he definitely plays creepy and detestable very well.
That being said, again, Dumbledore, he just said he's gonna kill a student, and you're like, just go mop the bathroom. Like,
well, you gotta pity him. He's just a squib.
Yeah.
Which I think they cut out of that movie.
Yeah, they don't talk about that at all.
The reveal that he is a regular human who was born from two wizards, which is super rare.
Poor guy. So what do you think of this movie overall?
Better than the first one. So, you know, I'll say it's a good movie. That suffers from some wonky acting here and there, and some like laughable moments, but I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked it.
Devonta?
Yeah, I thought it was better than the first one. That was an alright movie.
I'm going to give this one 41.5 out of 62 petrified cats. So, that's a glowing review right there.
Mrs. Norris, though.
Mrs. Norris, man. All right, we're going to take a quick break from the movies to talk about some trivia here. We're going to do some true or false with a PH. I got 3 of them for you. I'm going to pick 3 here. I got a couple. All right.
What's up?
Let's see here. Oh, there were 60 protesters outside of a cathedral where they started filming the first one in Gloucester, or however you pronounce that.
I'm going to say true.
Yeah, I got it true, too.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of backlash online, but you're wrong. There was one person showed up to protest it.
Okay.
This
is like shit your professor puts on a test and you're just mad about it.
It was like, I didn't get the note right. There was a protest, but you didn't get the right.
This one I have to do. Moaning Myrtle's actress, Shirley Henderson, was actually 23 when they filmed the movie.
True.
True.
Again, this one's a number one, but I had to say it. It's false. She was 36.
Oh my
wow!
Holy crap!
That's
they cast her as a 14-year-old.
And
ghost?
Like, she looks old, but she doesn't look that old. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
She, I remember, was in an episode of Doctor Who as well, and she looks the exact same as she does in these movies.
All right, last one here. Sir Charles Lee, you know, what's his face from Star Wars, Count Dooku and all that, turned down the role of Dumbledore after, you know, the original actor died. Since he was Saruman in Lord of the Rings, he's like, I have trouble living up to be 1 legend, 2 would be too much to hope for. And also said that he couldn't take the original actor Richard Harris's role because he called him a dreadful actor.
I'm gonna say false.
I'm I'll just go with true across the board.
Yeah, Mr.
Someone needs to get something right. So yeah, I'm glad you guys are doing different than me.
Pat, you are right. It's false. It was Ian McKellen. The original Dumbledore thought Ian McKellen was a dreadful actor. Yeah.
Wow. Also, you went for false for all three?
Not all the ones I picked to have today were false, but the 3 that I picked to read on the podcast were indeed false.
You are just dreadful.
I'm a dreadful host.
Yes.
All right, speaking of dreadful things, The Prisoner of Azkaban. It's a dark movie, you know. They got the dark WB logo at the start. What do you think?
I really enjoy this movie. I feel like it's the first time that the acting never fully bothered me. Like, there's a couple of weird moments here and there, but I feel you could really see improvement from all 3 of our mains. It's also our first time getting new Dumbledore, who I think a little better, but who is also still not enough like book Dumbledore
he
for me.
He misses that subtlety.
He's a little too aggressive.
Dude, when he comes out,
as we'll find out in the next one.
The first thing he does is start yelling. I'm like, this is very fitting.
Yeah. Exactly. Definitely enjoyed the new change of tone. I enjoy the music in this one a lot, and I really enjoy the new characters. Lupin is one of my favorite characters in the series, so I'm big on him.
I used to just like this movie because of all the changes, and then in terms of the book, like even just the story, there's no Voldemort. But now going back, who needs him? Like, this movie is so good, and I'm actually happy they changed things.
Also, Dementors are legitimately scary.
Freaky as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Joey and Devante?
I actually didn't have time to watch this movie like before we did the podcast, but from what I remember from it, I did enjoy it, and I really like the darker tones that later Harry Potter movies take on. So I remember liking that, and then this is the one with the Marauders map, right? Where they introduce that. I love that, and I wish that I could have something like that, just like the invisibility cloak.
Oh yeah, that was every kid's dream, was those 2 items.
Yeah. So for those reasons, I mean, I would say that I like this. But I watched the trailer because that was about all I had time for just before we started this, and it was the most British trailer I've ever seen. So if you guys have time, you should go and watch it. It's like little British kids singing, and it's fantastic.
I do want to say it was a weird choice to have the choir and everything.
They have a couple of weird scenes. The choir is weird, and I think it's weird when they do the scene of them eating animal crackers that make them say, or like make them like roar.
I like that.
Stuff.
I mean, it was weird, but like,
nah,
it just
they could have focused on other stuff. We already knew they were all
I just
friends.
like the it's a feeling it's showing them that sometimes they just hang out. They're not always about to die. But going back to the choir, did you know that Warwick Davis was Flitwick for all the movies, even when he looked all olden? Yep. Why'd they change his look?
I don't know. New director. He didn't like that look.
He looked
Change
better
it up.
in the first 2.
I agree. I didn't like his new look that he uses for the rest of the series.
Devante, what'd you think of this movie, other than, Warwick Davis looking different?
I actually like this movie better than the first 2. Like Pat said, this becomes a little bit more darker, and the Dementors are pretty cool. So yeah, I like it better than the first 2.
Yeah, I like Dementors specifically because the idea of a creature that like almost feeds off of your misery and therefore causes you to feel your worst emotions. That's a super cool concept.
I found out that J.K. Rowling based it off of her battle with depression, and I'm like, you know what? That makes sense. These things are just living depression.
I mean, granted, they are kind of also design-wise very similar to the Nazgul in Lord of the Rings.
But they don't ride horses; they fly. So that's
there we go.
A twist on it. Let's just get into it. What insane thing does Dumbledore do in this movie? So, like I said, he comes in yelling, which is very fitting, and then he just casually drops that the old monster teacher, the one who's Hagrid fills the position for. He's gonna go enjoy the rest of his life with his remaining limbs, and he just drops that it's like, oh yeah, he's only got 1 foot now. It's like, what? And then at the end, they're in the fucking what do they call it? The infirmary. and Ron's foot is hurt from, the Sirius as a dog biting it, and he just keeps patting it like an insane person. He's just like, yeah, you guys are great, kids. I'm gonna go now. And Ron's like crying.
He's definitely doing it on purpose too. Just 100%. Because Dumbledore is super smart. He knows he's hurting Ron. He's got to be like, I know that in the next movie and several movies from now, you're gonna be a real dick to Harry. So I'm just gonna like injure you a little bit more.
Also, another weird thing about this movie is, why does the Minister of Magic come out to kill one hippogriff?
Probably because it's Malfoy family specifically.
Yeah, they're big and...
who wants it dead, and the Malfoys are massive donors to him.
I did see that Lucius Malfoy was supposed to be there, but his actor could not make the film.
Gotcha. That's a good actor. I forgot to mention that about Chamber of Secrets. He was a good choice for Lucius Malfoy.
Yeah. He's also in that Death of Stalin movie as the head of the army, and he's so good. Good actor.
Though I will say the one downside of this movie, though, is the time turner concept is a little too much.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that in the fifth one she ends up destroying them all because there's such an OP way to like why would no one be using these to stop every bad guy ever?
That's true. I really liked it. I felt like first off, the scene in the Shrieking Shack is my favorite in this movie. Like, the acting just takes another level when they get Gary Oldman and Alan Rickman just going, and it's just like okay.
Yeah, Gary Oldman fully transforms into his role, too.
But, of course, we get the 12 years in Azkaban line, which is always great. But, like...
12 years
them going back in time, and, like, you see how, like, they affect the story. I love that. I think it's awesome. But I could see continuity-wise for the rest of the series. It's like, well, you just introduced time travel, which is a big thing. How do you handle that?
Yeah. I don't know. I do like that they also, in this movie, use the... Is Animagus what they're called?
Yeah, where they turn into... Yeah.
Animagus, they turn into animals. That had already existed with McGonagall being able to turn into a cat. But this is the first movie that, like, really focuses on it. And its importance with Harry's father and his friends all transforming into animals so that they can bond with Lupin, which is a super cool concept and immediately makes them all likable. Like the idea that they went so out of their way to be with their friend and support him during his darkest times as children.
Absolutely, but did they talk about that in this one? Like, I remember from the books, but...
Not really. They do it in the book. In the movie, for some... That's what they could have done instead of their animal cracker scene.
They never even addressed the names, like the Mooney.
Padfoot,
they
Prong,
never said who was who.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a weird thing to misstep there.
And then in the later movies, I think they just assume you've read the books and know that information.
Yeah.
Which is definitely a weird choice.
Yeah.
Another little detail I like is when Lupin does turn into a werewolf, I like that Snape, who is so antagonistic all the time, immediately puts himself between the werewolf and the kids.
That is nice.
It's a good little moment that shows his true character.
We also get this is the first movie that Harry uses Expelliarmus as a spell that does literally anything he wants. Like, Lupin comes in and uses it on him, and his wand goes flying. He's like, oh, okay. Harry uses it on Snape, and Snape goes flying into a bed that collapses.
Yeah. Yep. I think, in general, Harry... At that point, the explanation might be that Harry wasn't good enough at the spell yet, but then he proceeds to spend the entire rest of the series overusing that spell, and you're like, Harry, come on, you're a wizard. Everyone around you is doing different... Like, a ton of crazy spells.
Every time Hermione uses a spell, it's
Please.
different. Like, almost every time. She's got some cool new spell, and he's like, Expelliarmus this and that, and yeah.
Stupefy. Use Stupefy. It at least stuns people, man.
All right, so there's a lot to talk here about the directing and the style and the costumes and the music, because obviously Christopher Columbus, who was originally on to do all these movies, left because he wanted to see his kids grow up, which is a great reason. I get it. And having this change of directors was... kind of welcome.
Yeah. We get Alfonso Cuarón,
yes,
right?
Yeah. So he apparently he has an accent, and when the Dementors come to the train, he was saying that he wanted the rain to turn to ice, but they misunderstood his accent, and they drew up concept art of the rain turning into eyes. And then they showed it to him. He's like,
Oh,
no,
wow.
no, like frozen water, like ice.
Jeez. I would love to see that
That'd be
concept
cool.
art.
Yeah.
That'd be
As hell.
horror.
There's a lot of changes here. I don't fully understand some of the changes they made for Hogwarts setup. Like, I get that he wanted, the reason being he changed all the, like, setup stuff is because he wanted the world to feel connected and not, like, we're in a movie set here and then we're in a movie set here. So you can see how Hagrid's hut is connected to the opening of Hogwarts, and you can see the... He moved the Gryffindor common room to right in the middle of the staircase, which is a little weird. It's cool to see the transition of paintings as everybody comes over to find where, you know, the fat lady is. But, like, it's weird to put the secret hidden room for one of the houses right in the biggest part of the school where everyone can see.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
I
picky.
could. So it's a little strange, I guess.
But like, I mean, directing wise, you can really see like the change in style. Like when Lupin starts doing the Bogart with them, and he starts playing swing music. It's like, this is nuts. This is way different. But welcome. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. Lupin's an instantly likable teacher.
Oh, he's the best, man.
And he's definitely the best Harry ever has. So
easily.
There's that. I thought that was a really good scene to like kind of make us enjoy him even more, and then also to show a interesting magic stuff, which every one of these movies needs, and B, just like the students actually being educated, which we don't get a lot of.
Yeah. It's a school, right?
In the movies at least. I also want to talk about for a second how fucked up is it that they bring around creatures that suck out people's souls?
That's a big dark thing to bring in.
Yeah.
Like it confirms the existence of souls, which presumably have a moment of moving on in the afterlife. Like we know that because there's ghosts, I guess, but like we know like this is a secondary confirmation of that, and then they as mortal people go, we should have in law the ability to punish by removal of soul. So there's no chance of them being able to move on to the afterlife when they die. Yeah. Their soul has been consumed by Dementors.
Not only are you so bad of a person, you don't get to live, you don't even get the afterlife. Like, that's a big... Wow. I never thought about that. Mystery of Magic, man.
It's fucked up.
Weird.
Yeah.
I do want to point out the CGI in this movie actually looks kind of good at times. Like, anytime they're on the hippogriff flying and everything, it's like, cool.
Dementors look good. The hippogriff looks good. I like Bucky.
Yeah. Apparently, Bucky is the first CGI animal to poop in a major motion picture. I never noticed it, but he poops.
Someone spent time animating that poop.
I didn't even notice it.
They got paid probably a good amount of money.
So, what do you think of this movie? Is it poop or is it better?
I'll tell you now, Prisoner of Azkaban in general is my favorite Harry Potter movie. So I'll say it's a great movie. Really enjoy it. Does a solid job of adapting its book. A couple of weird scenes here and there, but I overall I thought the acting was way better. Hermione punches Malfoy in the face, which is great. Just all around enjoyable movie.
I'll agree. I mean, out of the first three, this one's been my favorite so far. I give it 56 out of 65 shrunken heads. We're okay.
You just reminded me I didn't like that shrunken head.
Yeah, it's there, man. It exists.
Why was he Jamaican?
J.K. Rowling makes some choices.
I don't know that was her choice.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I don't think that was in the book. I don't think the book was like his Jamaican accent.
That's fair.
Also, I don't think there was a shrunken head in the book. I'm pretty sure there was just two guys driving the bus.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing. Joey and Devontae?
What about you two?
I think it was a pretty good movie, actually. I didn't despise it as much as like the first two. Even though I didn't really despise the first two movies, but I actually enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, since I wasn't able to watch it very recently, I would still say that I like this movie, and if Pat and Devontae and you are giving it such high recommendations, I would probably go along with the same lines if I had watched it recently. I remember that there is a lot that I like about it. So, in terms of the concepts that it introduced.
Cool. So just a quick little present segment. What's going on with Rupert Grint? He was in an Ed Sheeran music video for Lego House, and he's currently on Servant on Apple TV+. It's a psychological horror show.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Getting his career back rolling.
He's going, man.
Yeah.
I know at one point he used his Harry Potter money to buy an ice cream truck and drive it around his neighborhood, giving it to children.
That's what
when
I was
looking him up, I saw a lot of stuff about charity. So he seems like a cool dude.
Yeah. He just had his first kid or something too, or he's about to.
I said back in May. Yeah, he's a father now.
Oh, sorry.
He's a father. So, big questions with this stuff. Let's see here. If you were in the magical world, what kind of pet would you want?
Probably an owl. I'll just take an owl. Those are pretty helpful. I honestly, I wouldn't even use it for mail. I'd just be like, you're a well-trained owl that doesn't attack me. I'll take it.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's between the owl, the toad, and the owl, toad, and cat, right?
I think so. Rat.
Those are the three I think you're allowed to bring to Hogwarts.
Yeah.
You can get a rat that's
or
like
a rat.
I'd probably go with a cat.
Yeah, rat. I definitely would have an owl.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a rat, I'd just be convinced I'm sleeping with an old man.
Yeah.
I like barn owls. If you guys know what barn owls look like, they got the like big looking eye things. Yeah, I like them.
Shout out to Hedwig.
Good owl,
my man.
Good owl.
Yeah.
So how do we want to rank these movies?
I'd say Prisoner of Azkaban's the best, then Chamber of Secrets, then Sorcerer's Stone.
I'm gonna go 3-1-2. Joey?
I'd probably go 3-2-1.
And Devontae?
Yeah, I agree with Joey. And
Okay, then. That's the official pause button ranking so far. 3-2-1. They've only been getting better and better.
Yeah. The rare consistent improvements.
Look at that. So our next episode is going to be video game themed, but the one after that, we're going to do 4, 5, and 6, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So that should be...
I enjoy one of those.
Something interesting happens there. Some changes happen, and there'll be a lot to talk about. Any last summing up kind of things for these movies?
Nope.
No. I do like for something I had forgotten to say earlier. I do like the idea of a fantasy world set in the real world.
Yeah, that's a good choice. Of it's coexisting with us. Nice idea.
Yep.
Yeah.
I also think Parcel Tongue was the original ASMR, but that's unrelated.
Well, the Parcel Tongue sounds awful.
Yeah, it does. It does. All right. So let us know what you thought of this episode. If you enjoyed it, if you're looking forward to the 2 parts we got. If you disagree or agree with our ranking, we're on Twitter and Instagram. Look in the description below. Reminder that we got streaming coming soon. We're moving that along, and we got our listen goals. If one of our episodes gets 40 listens, we'll do a drunk episode. We're so close. The Animal Crossing episode is just a couple away from that. And if we get 20 subscriptions on YouTube, we will put out a video episode, and you get to see us as you listen to us too. But share this with somebody if you enjoyed it. But overall, we thank you so much. And also, Tom, what is going to be our next topic?
Our topic for next week, we'll be discussing all the weird individual movies Daniel Radcliffe has done, including Swiss Army Man, which is him playing the role of a dead body that some guy finds washed up on a shore. So stay tuned for that.
That's going to be something. But until then...
Now we're going to hit pause.